always had a separation of church and state. It's been very important. And that this imposing this on kids in school, in non-religious schools, just seems kind of crazy.
Well, and the staunchest defenders for the separation of church and state throughout American history were Protestant Christians, Baptists in particular, right? I mean, the letter Jefferson writes where he first uses that phrase, a wall of separation between church and state, was to the Danbury Baptists. Because, I mean, these Protestants were fleeing Europe as religious minorities, right? I mean, this is kind of essential to the founding of this country, was religious freedom. And so those Christians understood that once the government starts preaching your religion, starts making decisions about your faith, that doesn't lead anywhere good. So we should be very suspicious of the state usurping the role of pastors and Sunday school teachers. I mean, if you want to deepen your faith, we have churches on every street corner. A lot of them don't have a lot of people in them, right? We've got mosques and temples and synagogues that have a ton of room in them. And so why would we have the government start to teach kids about or preach a certain religion when we have houses of worship that can do that?
Yeah, I think it's also a really important point you made earlier that if you try to force kids into doing things, they don't like to do it.
Correct.
And especially if you try to force kids they're secular and they come from households that maybe are atheists or agnostic, and then you have this on the wall,
right,
and you impose it on them.
Yeah,
they're going to think about it like they think about a lot of other government BS.
As they should.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think that Christianity has a lot to share with the world at this moment of kind of crisis everywhere. But this, again, is giving Christianity and religious people broadly a bad name. Because this is what people think about religious people, that we're more interested in imposing our faith or our values or our beliefs on others instead of living it out ourselves.
Yeah.
I partially agree with him here. I don't believe that the focus of the church should be to spread the message of Christianity through the state. It causes political division in the church, and it's a breeding ground for cultural Christianity and for Christianity to be more of a political movement opposed to being a religious community. However, if we're going to bring up the origins of this country and the founding fathers, we can't forget that the institution of religious practices in schools was there initially and then was later removed. The truth is, no matter how much you like it, there would be no America without God and without Christianity. Not all the founding fathers were devout Christians. However, they still came to a consensus that keeping God involved in the core of our nation would ensure a healthy and a great nation. And to move the goalposts and try to remove the fundamentals of Christianity from our nation is foolish, and things like that should have remained untouched. But what do y'all think? Is this a W take? Should the church completely stay out of politics?